Hello everyone. Today we are doing a coin toss challenge. This is the first of possibly many videos. Um, I'm going to be doing all these different challenges and just to keep up with stuff. Uh, but the first one we're doing today is it's called the coin toss challenge. The idea is that uh, it's supposed to flip a digital coin and count how many times we either get heads or tails. Um, Coincidentally, this challenge is also one of my homework assignments for stochastic models in C++. Yeah, I figured, you know what, let's just record it and see how it goes. Let's get into it. All right, so the first thing I'm doing is got to create my main function. So do that. All right. Um, and we need to create our variables. Uh, these are going to be integer variables. So we'll say integer heads, tails, and count. Uh, and count, we're going to be using this for a while loop to count how many times we toss a coin. We're going to actually have to set all of these to 0 because if we don't set these to 0, we will be getting negative numbers, and we don't want that. So let's set all of these to 0. Alright, and let's move on to creating our function. The function that I'm going to be creating, we're just going to call it coin toss. Alright, and we're going to be passing by reference the heads and tails variables. So, what am I doing? Okay. Alright, so now that we have that, we also need to initialize our random generator. This will create the seed for it. I believe this is how you do it. It's been a while. Let's just make sure I'm doing it right. Yep, okay, that looks good. Okay. And we will create a variable inside the function called int random, the integer random called random, using the random generator, and we'll go to so I think this is right. Let's move on. So the random number generator will pick a number between 0 and 2, but it won't pick 2 actually. It'll just be 0 and 1. So in this function, we gotta say, okay, if random is equal to 0, we're going to want to count how many heads and tails we get, right? So if random is equal to 0, we just say, okay, heads plus plus, and else, what did I say? Okay. Okay, that looks good. Else tails plus plus. Okay, so this function is actually very, very small, but it should do exactly what we need. We need our prototype as well, so let's copy this, paste it at the top, and that should be good. And then we'll return back to our main function and create our while loop. So while count is less than 200, we're going to be tossing this coin 200 times. That's kind of like what I needed to do, but it's pretty interesting what happens after we run this. How many times we actually get heads and tails. but we're not there yet. Let's just show you what. Let me just show you what goes on here. Count is less than 200, and we don't want it to be equal to 200, because if we were to say equal to 200, it's actually going to count from 0 to 200, which our total count would actually be 201. And we don't want that. So while it's less than 200, it should give us a count of 200. So while count is less than 200, call the function. And we'll pass heads and tails through. And we'll break the loop by incrementing count every time it runs. Okay, and just to see how many heads and tails we get, we need to have our cout statement. Heads cout tails. Excuse me. Tails. All right, and this will display how many heads and tails we get on the screen. But we also want to know if we're counting correctly, right? So let's just also put that counter on the screen as well. Okay, and we're going to need to pause the screen so we see it. So wow, I really can't really type today. All right, so let's see. Do we have everything? All right, so I included the IOStream library, the CTime library for the random number generator, the CSCD library for the random number generator, and the string, so that way you can just push everything to the screen. Void coin toss function looks good. The reason why we're using the reference pointers is so this way we can return the values of heads and tails back to the variables in the main. And alright, so let's just see what happens. Let's run this. Okay, so here you go. Count's 200. We got 97 heads and 103 tails, which sounds about right. Yep, 103, 97, 200. So it flipped about the same. Let's try again. 95, 105, 200. Okay, so that looks right. As you can tell, the numbers tend to be close to half. You know, you have two numbers, 0, 1, and you're flipping it an even amount of times. You're gonna get just about half. Now, if you want to see what happens when you change the loop, let's count it for 300. If we do 300, we got just about half. Now, it's not going to be perfect every time, but it's very close. And let's try one more time. Let's change the count. Let's put something pretty big. Let's do 10,000. Let's run this loop 10,000 times. Okay, and there you go. See? So it's always going to be somewhere close to half, which makes sense. So, all right. Well, thank you for watching, and hopefully next time we'll do a little bit harder challenge. All right, bye.